People do stuff like the kids were late for school, and it was your fault. It was your fault that they were late, and you keep doing this, and the only reason that they're late is because you don't even think about them. You raggedy. You don't make the kids a priority. You don't.
I don't make that cat a priority
either. This cat is not paying you no mind.
That's the problem. The power struggle. Cat ain't even paying me no mind. But anyway.
Boy, I lost my job. I lost my job because you don't show up for me.
Right.
You know, I needed to work overtime, and you wouldn't help me out.
Right. You don't support me in what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to do.
Right. I couldn't even go up for that promotion because I knew that you weren't going to support me.
And I'm always worried about what's going on here.
Exactly. And so then I lost my job messing with you.
Not only did I did not get the promotion, I don't even have a job now. Right. Messing with you.
I lost my job messing with you. We supposed to be in this together, and here it is. I'm missing out on stuff that I want to do for myself, dealing with you.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm even upset here because if somebody said that to me, I have some serious problems. But these are actually things that people say to their spouses. It's your fault we don't spend any time together because you always on the phone. You always going somewhere. You're running behind your friends. You acting like you're single, and it's your fault. And you always trying to do something else.
You ain't never here. You ain't never home. You ain't never around me. You don't even talk to me.
Right, and I keep telling you what it is that I want from you, and you keep doing something else. You, at the end of the day, it just look like every day you just don't care.
Right, right.
You know, if you don't care, let me go. What are you here for?
Right. What am I here for? At that point, you know, not what are you here for? What am I here for?
Because it's easier to blame. And this is where the difference between a power struggle and a regular argument. It's easier to blame someone than to actually put in a request. It's easier to show anger. It's to describe your disappointment. It's easier to be mad.
And why do you think that, though? You know, because people normally get caught up in pointing the finger a lot. Well, I mean, you say it's easy, right? It's easy to do it. What are some of the things that might be taking place in the person's head space?
Because it's easier for me to blame you, to tell you that I'm mad, than to go to a place where I'm going to be taking an emotional risk. Like for the thing with the kids. Okay, we'll use that one.
Okay.
The kids are late. Okay, when the kids are late like that, I'm really feeling like this is not a partnership. And I'm scared. Because I saw that happen in the house when I was growing up.
Right.
I saw my mom just doing everything.
Right.
And I don't want to be like that.
Right.
I don't want to do this by myself. And when you do that, that's exactly where I go.
Right. So I don't really, it's like I'm with you, but I'm still by myself.
Exactly. And I'm scared.
Right. And that's a real vulnerable spot.
And that's a real vulnerable spot. Yeah. Now, that did not say what I said earlier.
Exactly.
You don't care nothing about the kids. You a raggedy parent.
Right.
You're inattentive.
Right.
I mean,
there's a lot of accusations.
A lot of accusations.
Right.
A lot
accusatory
of
statements.
Going. But when it comes down to it, the thing is that I am afraid that you are not totally in this with me.
Right. You're not invested in this with me. You're not having some partnership in this thing with me.
Right. And when someone feels like that, that's hard to say.
Right.
But it's a true statement. But it's hard to say. And then what's easier is it's just easier to blame. And then we end up having this power struggle. And the power struggle, that thing, that entity, it'll just stay right there until, like the example I gave with the kids, until that is actually shared. That's going to sit right there.
Wow. Shared. That's a hell of a word.
Why?
Because a lot of people don't understand that's what we're talking about. You haven't shared space. And if it's not a shared space, either I got it or you got it. And if I have it, then I can kind of direct or dictate how things are going to go, whatever the case may be. And that's another part of the power struggle.
Right, because in order to get through a power struggle, you actually have to have shared power. And so that means that, okay, this is where you are. And so let's say
or mutual responsibility.
Exactly. That's a good way of saying it, because that's exactly what I was going to say. So when your husband or your wife says, hey, my fear is that I'm really going to be in this alone, sharing that responsibility. Okay, I really had nothing to do with what happened to you growing up. However, I really can do what I could do today to give you a different experience right now.
Right.
I can't change your childhood experience.
Right. You need a therapist. Go call Naila and Hassan for that. Right. But right now, this is what I can do for you.
I can't do nothing about your childhood trauma.
Right.
But in regard to this, I can do something about.
And please don't be that insensitive. I just said that, right? So.
Okay, so you do recognize.
Yeah, that was insensitive.
You do recognize that you was raggedy with
right, that was insensitive.
And so, how do you get to this shared power? How do you move away from? I told you how I felt. I've told you a million times. You don't listen to me, and you probably have said it. But did you say? Did you name what was happening? Did you say what your role is in it? Like, I'm going to go back to the kid thing. What would be your role in that? My role is, you know what? I really have some stuff that I saw growing up that I just do not want to recreate. And that thought keeps coming up.
Okay.
And that's my thought.
I'm with you on
it's
that.
mine.
Right.
And I'm going to own it.
Right. That's my issue.
Exactly. And that's owning your role in the situation.
Right.
Okay, someone said communication with kindness. Exactly, Karen. That's a great way of saying that.
Karen.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Karen.
Talk without blaming. The way I just owned it. I just owned that. I didn't put anything on anyone else. I didn't say, well, you know what? I did grow up that way. But if you didn't do this, I wouldn't think like this. No. Just own it and stop.
Stop. Right. And stop.
You don't have to drag and pull the other person into it.
And you don't have to give no deep explanation about it at that point either.
Right. Just say it. And be candid. Now, this is the part. This is the part really. It's about being vulnerable. Because I really have had to say, hey, I grew up in a household with some deficits. I grew up in a household with deficits that caused some things that are still coming up for me right now. And, it's a little problematic. And it's problematic not because you haven't even created that that similar situation in this house, but I'm just afraid of it.
Right. I mean, because anytime I get a whiff of it,
I go there.
Right. I'm going straight there. It's almost like it's as if it's a trigger for me anytime I just get a glimpse of it.
Okay, and then you become hypervigilant.
Exactly.
Because you see it.
Because you see it and you want to cut it off before it even gets started.
Exactly, and so you just you're doing the most. You're just doing way
too much.
And
for you and for your spouse.
Because the other person, they're really not going to hear you. Right. They heard your complaint. You may even have a valid one. The kids really don't need to keep being late for school. Okay, you have a valid concern, but no one's going to hear.
Right. You keep piling on. Ain't nobody going to try, especially a man. Ain't nobody trying to get it.
All right, and so the last thing, after you do all of that, this is the part that's difficult for most. No one really goes from a 0 to 100. And so then you gotta give time, give a moment for the change to not just occur, but to be consistent.
Right.
Because you want consistency.
Right. So because I have a client right now, and he's having a problem with his wife, and she'll do something like 3 days, and then she'll kind of fall back to something on the 4th day. And he gets mad because she can't even make 7 days.
But she make 3.
But and so at time it's 3. Then you pull the reminder back because she has to learn new behaviors, turn old habits into new habits, and it's just not going to turn over overnight.
Right.
That's not going to happen. And so you're frustrating yourself because you're looking for that person to do something different instantly.
Well, and you know what I'm thinking about, in therapy when we do treatment plans, and you want to have measurable treatment goals.
Right.
It would be if someone went from 0 to 3 days a week clinically, we would call that a success.
Right. Right.
So going from 0, to improving your behavior for 3 to even
3 to 5
days a week.
Oh, God.
Whoa!
Right.
I mean, that would literally be not just success. We would consider that therapeutic success, which also goes into, I think sometimes what we think is change means total, complete change. I don't get a whiff of it. I don't see it
anymore. It's over with. I don't have to worry about it no more. And
it's done.
Right, that's nonsense.
And so
it's not going to happen.
Right, marriage should be a space for rehabilitation too.
Right, and if we don't use the word rehabilitation, at least recovery.
Right, and recovery takes time. And nothing goes like that quickly. And this is to be mindful of that. Okay, we went through a power struggle. We went through the honeymoon phase, then we went through the power struggle, and now we want to get to share power. We're not going to go from power struggle on Monday to share power on Tuesday. It's not going to happen.
Right. And even though you may do some of it, the overall approach to it, it's not going to take place. I may have share power. I may come down and I don't wash no dishes, so I'm just going to use that.
No, he does not wash.
I'm use that as an example, right? I don't wash no dishes. So, but if I come down and I say, okay, I'm gonna clean the table off.
He might do that.
Right, and then I do it today.
He might not do it tomorrow.
But I may not do it tomorrow, right? And then it's like, okay, did I share power that day? In a sense.
You did a share role.
I did a share role, right?
Because we ain't share power. Right? Because you got your dirty dishes off the table one day.
Right. I did a share role, right? But, if we're talking about power, where we've kind of, helping each other out more often, it may show up today, it may show up tomorrow.
Or it may show up with the clearing away the table, and it may not. You may not do that tomorrow, but you might do something else. And it might be the dish thing, the clearing the table didn't get done today, but you reminded me about something I needed to do. You made sure I had my water at night before I went to bed. You helped me do something else. You helped me return some of the calls that we needed from the people that we called back. So, and again, this is where the shared role may not be that, but it could be something else. And this is how you
establish the shared power, right?
And you establish the shared power because I see the attempt and you can see the effort. And then what you do with that, the way you respond to it is you become gracious and you accept it and receive that, this is I see the effort.
So if I see
the intention.
So if I was to say it like this, then would I be correct? Saying it's not so much the power comes as you see the effort in the role that people are taking in trying to accommodate one another.
And which is a very powerful thing. Okay. I have assumed this role as your spouse. This is the way that I'm going to show effort in it. This is the way that I'm going to uplift you. This is the way that I'm going to honor our marriage. That's total sharing.
Right.
And then, in turn, this is the way that
I'm going to reciprocate that.
And I'm going to recognize and receive what it is that you're trying to do, rather than keep telling you ain't no good. Every time I turn around, you're doing something else. You don't think about me. You don't think about the kids. You ain't taking nobody into consideration. You're just a selfish bastard.
Ooh. Whew. That was a lie. Did you breathe in that?
But those are things that people say, and then they start talking about something else. They get to talking about your parenting,
right?
And they get to talk about how you're cleaning up,
right?
Then they talk about, and you know what? When you went to the store the other day, I was so mad by the way you were driving down the street. They just talk about everything.
Right, everything.
And this is when the power struggle is just at its peak. because everything wrong is about the other person. You cannot get through this stage without taking some accountability. Because one of the things that we say with the couples that we work with, if you show up with a complaint and a concern, there's something that needs to come with it.
Exactly.
It's like salt and pepper.
Right.
If you got a complaint or a concern, you need to have a recommendation
on how they can do better.
On how to fix.
How to fix it.
You say, well, what do you want me to do? Just stop. No. Give a recommendation. Put in your request.
And just stop isn't saying, just stop and then do what? It's just like somebody, you need to have something. In order to stop this, I need to be doing something else.
Right, and what is that something?
And what is that something else
that you want?
Right.
Please tell me what that is.
If it is, you just stop. Just stop what? Just stop talking, or just stop, complaining, or just stop putting your dishes over here in the sink without scraping them, or whatever it might be.
If you don't want me to complain. So when I have a critique, what do you want me to do? Because people are not because
when I have a concern.
Right.
What do you want me to do? How do you want me to say that?
Because I'm going to have one.
Right.
Right now. Matter of fact, I got one right now.
Right.
I am concerned.
I'm concerned about this conversation.
So how do you want me to do this? Because otherwise you look like you are the winner of the blame game. And the other person can actually be the one that's at fault. The other person really can be the one who's the most toxic and doing the most damage.
You mean the one who has this issue?
Yeah, but because of your delivery and because of how you express your concern, you're going to look like you are the worst candidate.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. Now, you actually didn't talk about the person that you are talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. They're toxic, but because you're just blaming, naming, shaming, judging. It's all correct. However, if you want change behavior, there is a way that you need to speak to a person, including a problematic one.
So in this whole thing is a person can be dealing with somebody's toxicity with toxic delivery.
That's it. Poison and poison.
It's not going to work.
Both of you spit venom.
Right.
No antidote in sight.
And you're not going to get anything done or solved at that point.
All right, so y'all let us know what you think in the comments. As always, you can find us at
www.thatclaycouple.com or hashtag thatclaycouple.
All right, y'all share. Tell a friend, because these are things that you can actually do with all of your relationships.
And, by the way, we have our men's virtual retreat with myself